then we are live. So, take it away, Arne.
Okay, if we're live, hello everyone. This is Arne from Friend Oslo and Hogne in Stavanger, and this is the third webinar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So we've been busy flying around the world and following the nervous markets and focusing on the project, focusing on the tech, focusing on getting the word out, and we'll talk a bit about the token, we'll talk a bit about the risk, we'll talk a bit about how the project is going, both from a commercial side, from a technical side, and give you guys a general update. We have collected a lot of questions from you, and we'll take them one by one.
Let's see. Yeah. 1 second, guys. We have a technical issue with the sound output, so we'll have to fix that. Sorry about that. 1 second, be right back.
Okay.
So, sorry about that.
You just unplugged, so it was a mechanical error, not a software error. That's good. So this is Arne from Oslo and Hogne from Stavanger, and we're here to answer questions you may have and to talk a bit about the status of the project. So as I was starting off while Hogne was trying to figure out the mechanical plugging error, then the market fluctuations is certainly making ICOing at this stage quite a challenge. Now, as I was saying, our FriendUP token is locked 1 Ether to 20,000 tokens, and therefore, if you hold Ether, it doesn't really matter. If you hold other tokens and you need to liquidate them first and then get our token, yeah, then it kind of matters for sure. And then if you hold fiat and you want to get Ether, then this is probably a good time to do the exchange as we're in a low market. It's not the first time that the market is at this stage. It has happened 3-4 times already over the short history of this sort of market. And we are looking at how to mitigate the risk and looking at how are we going to continue and conduct our TGE with this in mind, getting the risk low, making sure we have liquidity, aligning the ICO crowdfunding with what we want to achieve, and juggling the market. We're still discussing this. We have a couple of very good ideas, but before we announce any of that, we need to verify internally and verify for smart contract and have things in plan. So I think it's safe to say during next week we will announce our plan on how to do this. Either we do a chop up of the token generating event into several steps. It's probably a very good idea, but that's one way of doing it. We could, of course, postpone further. We don't want to do that for various reasons. We want to get going. And we are looking at how to do the pre-sale, continue with the pre-sale, and get the various big whales on board as we're doing it. We're also looking at how this will affect the any changes here will affect the what you really want, which is to get the tokens. So we are doing our very best, putting big brains and our great advisors to play here. And we will announce during next week, at the latest at the next webinar, Friday next week, same time. We will announce to you guys the best route forward. And you can rest assured we have the project and the mission and the vision and the token holders, the contributors, the pre-sale contributors, all best interest in mind. Hogne, do you want to add something to that?
Well, organizing this with the market as volatile as it is and as ever-changing, and also with, of course, the regulatory activity that's happening around the world, is always going to be filled with or it actually demands active participation from management and to orchestrate the best process forward, because of course we all want to achieve the same thing. So I think working on our strategy for the ICO and being open about it, I think is the right way forward, because this is not easy. It's not rocket science, but our strategy has to be adjusted and adapted to reflect the current state of how the crypto space is and how the ICO space develops.
Okay, I see a couple of questions coming up which are aligned to what we're discussing right now. They're asking when will token be distributed for bounty hunters, and that will happen as soon as the TGE has the end block, and the 30 days lock period is complete. We will then distribute the bounty hunter tokens and all other tokens for contributors. The pre-sale is active, and there is a 20% bonus for pre-sale contributors. There's a special bonus out at the moment if you contribute more than 20 Ether in one contribution, then you get up to 30% bonus. So someone was asking, what is a TGE? And sorry, that's a token generating event. So the typical ICO is consisting of really a pre-sale, private pre-sale phase, and then the token generating event itself. The token generating event is when Ether is sent to the smart contract, and the smart contract issues the tokens, and then the tokens get sent to the address from where the Ether comes from. That's the token generating event, and at the moment that is set for the 16th of April to the 16th of May, as you can find on our web pages. And we are considering to make some adjustment, not to the dates, but to how we do this, to take into account the market fluctuations. And as I said, we will get back to that by no later than the end of next week. We just need to think this really well through first, and then take all of the various parameters into account before we announce.
So somebody is asking what you can buy with the tokens. And of course, this is part of our token design work, which is all related to the Friend network and how it will interact with users who access our marketplace, Friend Store. So if you have Friend tokens, then you will have the means to acquire applications, resources in the Friend network, and digital services. So you can imagine the Friend Store as some, like a normal app store. Only that in there are not only games and tools and applications, but there are also services, and there are also resources like storage space, processing power, different things you can connect to your Friend cloud computer. And one of the interesting things is how we will do services. So if you have any service that you offer, you can sell that in the Friend Store. And of course, as long as you adhere to the official rules that is in our governance model for the official vetted Friend Store, you will be able to take advantage of microtransactions and so on for the services that you yield. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how the Friend Store will be populated over time. And we believe that you will be able to buy any type of infrastructure, access, and applications to do pretty much anything that you can do in a desktop environment or that you can access in a browser tab. So it's going to be a real marketplace. You populate your Friend computer with applications and disk space and other services. It could even be like translation services where you have a proof of work afterwards and so on. And the thing is that the Friend network token is going to be the only means that of doing transactions in the network. And so it's a paramount element in the Friend network itself. So yeah, in the Friend Store and in the Friend network, you will be able to develop applications that takes advantage of the Friend network token. And as a token holder, you will be able to access all of these services without converting from fiat and so on, if you so if that's what you want.
Absolutely. The question about exchanges, should I take that one?
Oh, sure.
So they're asking, first of all, where you can buy the tokens and go through a KYC process, and then about exchanges. So I'll cover both. First, to get the tokens, either you have Ether, so you go through the KYC through the process you will find on our web pages. And once the KYC is complete, you can send Ether to the address that you will find there. If you want to participate with fiat, you are in a bit of a hurry, and you need to contact us directly, PM in the group, or send me a mail if you want, and we will see if we can sort you out in the time left. When it comes to exchanges, we are currently only in unofficial talks with exchanges, planning to list soon as we are complete with the block period. Listing on exchanges is something which will require us to discuss with the Norwegian regulatory financial supervisory authorities. And we are talking to both the Gibraltar GBX to Bittrex to a lot of different exchanges to see where we can get the best execution. Of course, liquidity is very important for you and also for us, but we need to take it one step at a time. And the main focus here is to make sure we land the token generating event first. And right now, as we just said, it's There's a lot of thinking to be done about how to mitigate the risk because of this market. And as soon as we get to end block, we will address full on the exchange question. And I'm pretty sure the shadow listing on exchanges will start happening before we are directly formally listing ourselves. So, but rest assured, we are very much aware of this, and we will address this as soon as we have end block.
So we still get questions about the marketplace. So I can pull up the beta here just to show off a little bit. So you know, we have a way that you will register as a merchant, and then you will get access to adding software and services in the store. So at the moment, this is our beta version. We call it the Friend Marketplace. As you can see, it's a typical store design, which will be tuned and then tuned some more. But this is where you're going to go to get your extra storage space, to get your new applications and so on. And there will be ratings in here, and there will be all the usual stuff that you're used to finding on, for example, the Play Store or the Apple Store. So that's how it will look like, and also you will not have to go into the Friend workspace, this desktop environment, or the phone app to access the Friend store. You will be able to go directly on the website just like you used to, logging in with your Friend account, and there you go. It's going to be just like the Play Store. But like, again, it's integrated into your cloud computer. So when you log in there, you'll have a more adapted for desktop version of the store. And of course, you're going to have a lot more collaboration. For example, talk to the developers. Each developer will have their own page inside their product portfolio, where you're going to be able to interact with the developers, look at recent features, request features, and so on. And since the Friend network is so interactive, you're going to be able to add the developers directly to your contact list in Friend Chat, so that you can chat with them and so on, depending on their availability. But as you can see, the entire environment is tuned for collaboration, and that will also be reflected in the Friend store. So we have several questions here. There was another question earlier by Commander Data from the FriendUP channel, and a lot of people are wondering if they can try out Friend in an app already, and that's definitely possible. If you go to the Google Play Store and you search for FriendUP, you will get the beta version of our Android app up in the listing, and you can click and download that and use it on your Android phone. We do have an iOS app available soon, and that will of course give Apple users the same service. And the Android app with Friend, it essentially gives you like an Android phone inside your Android phone. So when you start the Friend app, you will authenticate against your server, which probably will be Friend Sky. But you can also point it to your own server if you downloaded the source code and built that. And then once you're logged in, you get into an icon menu like you're used to on your phone. And then you can just use that app as if that was your phone. So that's pretty interesting. We'd like to see you give us feedback on that, but we really think that that's going to be a useful app for everybody who has smartphones. Let me see.
Very nice.
People are also, there are many different questions. So some people are interested in the tech, and some people are interested in the token, and so on. So that's why we're here, to cover both sides. I guess I'm the specialist on the tech itself, and Arne is of course really deeply into the economics of the technology and of the platform. So somebody's asking about the pre-sale, if there is a bonus if they invest now, contribute, as we would say. Perhaps you can talk a little bit about the bonus that people get when they enter the pre-sale now.
Yeah, it is 20% bonus. So if you contribute 1 Ether, you will get not 20,000 FRND tokens, you will get 24,000 FRND tokens, 20% bonus. And if you're capable of contributing more than 20 Ether in one go, we can offer 30% bonus. This is a normal volume scale bonus incentive, and the bonus for the pre-sale ends, of course, when the pre-sale ends. Pre-sale is capped at 3334 Ether, and then there's a bonus of 15% in the up to the minimum or soft cap, if you like, of 25k Ether. This is what we're discussing potentially to adjust related to the market fluctuations, but the bonus in the pre-sale will remain 20% for contributions and 30% if you make big contributions. We also have questions related to when people will get their tokens, and as I said, the token will be transferred within 30 days of end block. And after 30 days of end block, it will be also released for peer-to-peer transactions.
Okay, so we have a couple of other questions. One regarding the latest Facebook drama. And I think this also relates to a question we got previously, which was, would it be possible for somebody to maliciously exploit the friend network to do malicious things? And if no, then we're not really decentralized. So it's a trick question. And I would like to say a few words on this. So, it's always dangerous to some people if you tell them that yes, there will be terrible activity on the network. But what you have to understand is that just like through TCP/IP and indeed the internet protocol itself, there is of course no restriction on content. There is no low-level mechanism in the internet itself that looks for bad and horrible things and removes that, even though I guess a lot of people would want that. And the reason is you'd have to essentially put an AI algorithm in there to catch everything. So let's put it this way. If we would filter out all negative content from the friend network, well, it would be an impossible task because it would be a race condition. We would have to constantly be vigorous, and it could ruin the entire network with doing such a thing. That's why we have an official network, which has whitelistings and ratings and preferred sources and those type of things. So if you are very afraid of the jungle that probably will develop in the friend network, in the deepest basement of the friend network, then just stick with the official stuff and you should be fine. When it comes to the Facebook scandal, the point is that they have centralized systems. And like Zuckerberg himself said, is if they were to deliver this service for free to the entire world, which is what they had to get the market penetration, they'd have to make some monetization mechanism, which would be advertisement. And if they would have had a token model, they might not need that. But of course, that was not available at the time and would be what they would be doing in the future, who knows. The thing is that they need to data mine you to be able to produce data for advertisers. And with Friend, that's absolutely not the case, because the Friend network is an autonomous technology that is run by the users, we don't need those type of mechanisms to have a good business model. And so in the case of Friend, your data is encrypted, your data is not stored in central servers, and nobody is data mining you inside of the network, other than at the endpoints if you would have some hackers who would try, which would be in the same for every system. So Friend, if you use the official channels, you're still decentralized. And you still own your own data, you still control your own data, and the system has no incentive for us to surveillance you. So using friend-based systems, you should be pretty safe, and much safer than you would be in Facebook because of those reasons. Okay, so
it's a great timing on this and a big buzz on an awareness. So I'm very happy actually about this Facebook calamity, because it really makes people think a bit more and more aware of how vulnerable we really are about our data, and that is also helping awareness about why Friend is important. So we are talking to a lot of media about this, and right here in Norway there's a big media frenzy about it, as there is in the US, and you see more and more of the Facebook calamity coming out in full play. We are definitely working on making sure your data remains yours and your identity remains yours. And we also have a friend community tree root. Hogne, I'm not sure if we should talk a bit about that now, or maybe.
Oh, sure. I could definitely talk a little bit about that. So if I go to GitHub, let me see if I can do this without ruining the. Let me see. Let's just pull this down like this. So on GitHub, you will find that we have released Subether. And Subether is the open source version of our social networking platform. Let me pull that up here for you guys so you can see it. Subether was the first decentralized project actually that we started on, and that was, I think, over 5 years ago, back in the company that eventually became Friend Software Corporation. And it is based upon an idea of like Facebook or LinkedIn, where you have walls and where you post and where you have groups and different collaborations. You have chat. Actually, the chat in Friend Chat is based on Treeroot for the instant messaging. And it's also the Friend community app inside of Friend is running on this platform. It just also goes to show how much we are committed to open source. And with Subether, you're going to be able to develop your own Facebook-like communities, where you can be completely free to decide what to post. If you want to do ads in there, you can do that, and you can network all these different Subether servers together in a decentralized fashion. For developers, it also has a full REST API that allows you to access and manage calendars, meetings, all of these things. All of this will be available to developers and users in the Friend network.
Very cool.
Okay.
Yeah, there's another question here I can do. Are there any crypto funds on board already?
Yeah.
So, crypto funds and venture capital, they go more or less hand in hand. And if you are following the macro situation today, you will see that unfortunately, the Bitcoin dominance of all of the cryptocurrencies or digital assets is really driving the whole market at the moment. and therefore the funds that we are talking to, some are very keen, some are asking if they could join us on the equity side now and on token later. Some are asking about the other way. We are in deep talks with 4 different funds. We haven't gotten any funds on board yet, but that's something we are hoping to do within the next week. The good thing is that the pre-sale will then, the bonuses that we have available in the pre-sale will be more focusing on the more, the more developer community, the more people who are technically interested, not in there for the financial gains. And those are really the people we want to make sure get the bonus tokens. But yeah, we're talking to 5 different funds, of which 3 are in material talks, and chances are we will be able to lock some of them in during the next 5 to 7 days before the end of the pre-sale.
Okay, so we got one question: is Friend an OS? And so this is an interesting question. I've been a developer for many years, you know, when you start working on a software project, you need to have an operating system to build on. But when you do that, for example, let's say I develop a software application on Linux, then I go to a customer and the customer doesn't have Linux. So what I then have to do is I have to modify my application, which is very time consuming, to work with Windows computers. And then I have to do that for each target. Let's say I get another Apple customer, and then I need to change it to Apple and so on. So web development became a really great way of just using the web browsers to build applications and then saving a lot of time, because if you have a web application, it works for everybody. Now, what I was missing there, I was missing file operations, like with opening and closing a file, saving files, reading from files. I was lacking multitasking. I was lacking a lot of things that you would find in an operating system. And this is where Friend comes in. Friend gives developers a full stack to use to build applications. And you don't need to have the user interface of Friend. You can just use the technologies, but that means that I'm showing you guys the shell here. So the shell is really, you could say how I'm talking to my cloud computer just using commands. And the cool thing about that is that it shows you a part of Friend that doesn't have a graphical user interface. So you don't have to use our windowing environment and all that stuff. You don't have to use that. You can just use our server interface to build everything. But Friend is very much like Chrome OS, and it's very much like the stack that drives Chrome OS, only in the internet. So previously, the internet was an add-on to operating systems. With Friend, it's upside down. Friend is an add-on to the internet. So when you are on the internet, and indeed in the Friend network, you can load up your cloud computer, which creates a computer out of the internet, the decentralized network, and then you have everything you have in Chrome OS or Windows or so on that you can use that you can use online in a browser tab. So that means that when you populate your cloud computer with different applications, decentralized applications and so on, you can access them on your phone, on your tablet, on your smart TV, on your notebook, everywhere, because now you're not tied to your hardware anymore. So Friend is indeed a full operating system, but more than that, it is a great basis for developers to build decentralized applications and services. So yes, Friend is an operating system, but it's much more than that, and it's much less than that for depending on what you want to use it for. Let me see. So somebody's asking about events. Perhaps you can take that one, because you're going to some events this month.
Yeah, and I'm the traveling guy at the moment. I got some time to at least refresh a bit during Easter and see the family. Yeah. Next week there will be 3 events here in Oslo, because we're also working a lot with our local community. So that's two events which are related to the governmental platform for all kinds of tax reporting, and it's called Alt-In, which is all in, sort of. And they are also looking at building a blockchain tax reporting tracker with the tax authorities. So that's for Wednesday, and Thursday is for the Oslo Cancer Cluster, which is a medtech conference on Thursday next week, which I will be at and present Friend and what we're doing in the medtech area with the Hogne Medical Project. Then next weekend, I will be in London on the on the 14th. Help me here. 14th, Saturday. And that's the London cryptocurrency show. And it is, I will see if I can find the link here. And we should post these links and let people know.
Yeah. We can put them in the description below once we get the edited version of this webinar out.
Yeah, it's londoncryptocurrencyshow.com. So that's pretty straightforward. Where we just agreed to, we're actually finalizing the deal now to present there, and there will be a lot of people there, fans, friends. Some of the partners will be there. Plus, we will meet a lot of potential participants in the ICO. And that's for the London event. And the next one that I have on plan is we would have wanted to go to Dubai for the 15, 16, 17 World Blockchain Forum. Unfortunately, because of the market fluctuations and the costs and liquidity, we have decided we wanted to go, but we just can't spend the funds for that right now. The next set we have is for Zurich on the 26th, which is an event for, hang on, it is called, just getting it through here. So the CEMS alumni in Switzerland, that's together with the Deloitte and with the biggest private equity fund in all of Switzerland. They are called Julius Baer. Some good friends of mine who work there, and together with PwC, we are going to speak about, and Swiss Re is also, the insurance company is also going to be there, and we're going to talk about our project and our ICO from Norway in Norway. So we're trying to get out there and talk as much as we can, but at the same time we have a busy shop to run, and what can I say, a bit of a demanding market situation to handle. So we will be here on next Friday on a new webinar on the 13th, Friday the 13th, to also talk more about any questions you might have, and also explain more about how the plan for handling the market situation is going to be like. We're going to be ready to explain that to you in detail next Friday.
So somebody is asking about Ethereum, and will it go up again, and like when will it go up again?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Next Friday, didn't you know? No, it's what can I say? It's very hard to predict, particularly about the future. Now, the people I talk to, the funds, the crypto funds, the VCs, the big whales, the people in the know, people who are spending all of their time trading digital assets, there seems to be a general consensus that, we've seen this depression before. This is the third or actually fourth time it is happening over the last 3 years. And there's a general consensus the market will pick up again. If it's going to take 1 month or 3 or 4 months, we don't know. Unfortunately, there's a very high correlation between Ether and Bitcoin. Bitcoin being on top of the list, being so large, and unfortunately, its momentum and dominance is affecting the whole digital asset market. It's unfortunate. I don't think that's going to last forever, but at the moment, that's what we're facing. So where it seems like the Ether price is bottoming out now, and I can hope and believe that the next it's going to stay low for a little while, and then it's going to start climbing back up again slowly. And I think journalists and the world news are going to talk about blockchain is back and crypto is back up, and the whole thing is going to start singing again in positive terms over the next 2-3 months.
Oh, I agree. Ether definitely seems to have hit rock bottom for now, and I see a lot of people are making various different models as to if it's gonna go a bit up and a down again, and there people are following the diagrams and the projections. So, but I definitely think that I don't think it's gonna go much lower than it has right now. Okay, so I'm just going to comment on this CBM thing. So there are so obviously people know that we have a history with our technology from alternative operating systems in the past. One of them being Commodore's system back in the 90s. And so many people wonder if since we do have ex-Commodore people in our organization, if we are doing anything with the new Commodore initiatives, or people have bought the name. And I'll just say that, yes, we are willing to work with anybody who's building new hardware, who wants to have a new OS on that hardware. Wouldn't it be great if you could have a decentralized operating system that could work offline on dedicated hardware, like a phone or a notebook? But we're not seeking exclusive partnerships, and people are free to use our open source technology to experiment getting it on their devices, and we would be glad to help people do that. Friend is not Commodore, even though we do have some links in the past. Of course, it is its own operating system with its own future. And so even though we love to connect with the past and things that are connected to our history, the future of Friend is in the future, essentially. So that's what I want to say about that. But we're happy to work with anybody who wants to make a Friend phone or Friend book. We actually have a new partnership forming now with a company in the US who do actually provide customers with hardware like PCs and so on. And there will definitely be a Friend PC in the near future. And there will be a Linux distribution for people who would want to run the Friend workspace instead of GNOME or KDE or any of the other Linux-based desktop environments out there. And of course, there's also the Windows app, which people will have access to down the line, which gives you a virtual friend in a window on your Windows desktop if you don't want to connect it directly through a web browser. So that's all en route. So there's a question about encryption, and so when you look at our disk drives here, each of these disk drives, they have various different permission settings and so on today, and we will be adding an encryption flag to each disk. So that means if you have a Google Drive, or you have FTP drive, or IPFS drive, or any other network drive, or even connected to your local computer, you'll be able to do encryption on the client side. So what that means is that when you store a document that you're working on in the workspace, it will be encrypted before it's sent to the server network. So that means that the server network never hold your data. You unpack it, so to speak, in your browser, and then you pack it back up before you send it to the server. So we're going to provide you with a very convenient security mechanism in Friend out of the box. We get several different questions in different directions here. I don't know if there's one that you want to pick now, Arne, or...
Yeah, I'm multitasking as always. So I got some coffee, and I'm chatting to a guy in Korea who wants to help us marketing more into Korea at the same time.
Yeah.
Very normal. We are. I think we did you cover all the partners that we are working with in the?
No.
Because I saw that was one of the questions.
Yes.
I'll take a couple of them. One was pre-sale end, that's the 16th of April. Then about partners. We have been so lucky to work with Golem since May, June last year, 2017. And we are working to set up API with them, which Hogne can explain more in detail. We are working with Fluence AI, a decentralized database. And we can also here now talk openly about the fact that we are on our way to start the dialogue and interactions with Omisa Go to see how we can do token-token integration and utilize the Omisa Go infrastructure as we set up the Friend network in FriendStore. So we are finalizing our memorandum of understanding with them, and we will communicate more to you guys as Hogne and Thomas and the other techies are diving into that and see how we can prepare integration and figure out how that is done most efficiently. We are also in early dialogue with Crowd Machine, and several others that we like. I know you know. We have to check for technical vetting. We have to check for personal vetting to make sure we get in dialogue and in cooperation later on with the right people. And that social vetting and technical vetting takes a bit of time. So we're doing it as fast as we can, but not faster than what is considered within our friendly universe to be safe, secure, and responsible. So, as Hogne said, we're definitely open to partner with anyone. We're also working on partnering with a lot of the conventional players. So this morning I spent 2 hours with some of the top executives in Capgemini. And Capgemini, they are consultancy firm, and they fit extremely well with the Friend in the sense that we can provide the technology, they can provide the time and material, project planning, project execution, and tailored integration, the whole glue between Friend and potential users of Friend. They are extremely interested in what we're doing. We are also working with slowly getting IBM interested in what we're doing. That takes time. They're very big and it takes a long time. Same slow but still momentum is with Huawei and with several others.
So about IoT, that's an interesting question. So of course, as we've said before, but it might be news to some people, the Friend technology is being written so that it can comply with the 5G specification. Now, the 5G is very interesting because it's not only a new set of radio frequencies for high-speed internet connections, but it's also a light a light carried network, meaning that you can do Li-Fi or light pole to light pole relaying of data. So that means you will get your internet from light sources, light bulbs, and so on. And the 5G network is all about being available everywhere at super high speed. and Friend has been written in such a way that it can process requests on a 2 millisecond delay latency and below. So there will be a lot of applications for using Friend in IoT scenarios, smart houses, and so on. And we think that that's also going to be represented in the Friend store. We have done a couple of demos in the past for IoT, and being available on mobile devices should also open up that sphere. So definitely there's going to be a lot of IoT opportunities on the platform and in the network.
Okay. I see another question I'd like to address here, which is which advisors we're working with. And we have both blockchain advisors in our partners, being Golem, Fluence, etc., which I just mentioned. We also work with Mark Terrell, who is the blockchain advisor for World Economic Forum. We work with excellent gentleman who is called Owen Barnes, who was very active in Status and Civic, if I'm not mistaken. And he's advising us on a lot and is a great sparring partner on complex issues. We also have a lot of advisors that are not directly blockchain related, such as Huawei with Mikotero and several scholars. So we are not shy to ask people for help. We are also having a fantastic team with people, very senior people up in the mid 60s who have been around since IT before internet came. And we have young talent down. I think Hogne, who's the youngest guy we are working with on an active basis?
The youngest guy?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. I don't order them by age really.
No, it's more like do we talk to people who are millennials and younger? And yeah, I work with quite a few of them in a couple of related projects with Friend, and I think we're quite tuned into that as well. We have, when I was in LA 3 weeks ago on this road trip, I also met with some excellent contributors in Friend who wanted to meet me. And we sat down, had a dinner, and all of a sudden this guy turns out to help us connect 2 hours ago, and he helps us with actually discussing, inspiring with token design. So wherever we find a talent, it doesn't matter how old they are or where they are, we will listen, we will recognize that there is a talent, and we will listen.
Yeah, and I think a lot of, if you would call them millennials, which is probably some kind of loaded word. But anyway, people who are young, they're very much into decentralization. And I think, people who grow up with technology, they get used to being around, being mobile, having access, and they don't like the big hegemonies owning all their digital assets, so to speak, always having an ability to surveillance them and so on, because young people today are so integrated with their devices that they cannot avoid being exposed to surveillance unless they opt out of their communities. So when I talk about security and the decentralization that we're working to achieve, a lot of the young people are listening with and their eyes, you can look at them and see that this is like, oh yeah, I really want this to happen. I really want to get away from these silos, these big corporations. And I think also that young people think that having access to digital services, software, and devices is kind of like a human right. They can't imagine a world without it. And they don't like the idea that a commercial, privately owned company puts the standard and puts the limits on how they can live their digital life. that you know, to have a private company decide on the human rights of having access to technology. I think they really like the idea that this could be a project that would be undertaken by humanity, and that it would be a project in the hands of the people, and that's where we need to go, and that's exactly where we're going with Friend.
Yeah, I think on that note, I want to. There are a couple of questions here that can tie into that. How much of the total tokens will be available for sale? And why is that linked to what Hogne just said? Yeah, it is because we are actually allowing 82% of all the tokens to be available for sale. And that's compared to a lot of the other projects out there, it's a very high number. And the reason for it is we are distributing the tokens as democratic as possible. Because we want to make sure we have active users, knowledgeable contributors to this effort, so that Friend is not only owned by its users but also governed by its users. And this is something we have written about in the white paper, in which we will talk more about on webinars to come, about how we will leverage the contributors and make them able to direct us, not just in consensus voting, but actually more incentivized voting as to which direction we should take in further development.
Yeah, and I think that feedback loop is going to be a model that will be adopted by a lot of projects. So we're proposing a model where users can vote down changes to the network and the technology, but where really resourceful coders or just people who are very knowledgeable can intercept negative votes and suggest changes to the original proposal, which will kind of save the vote, and that way we can have a really good interaction with the community and really take advantage of people's knowledge about the technology. And not, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be about technological decisions either, but governance models. And so Friend will be an evolving community, not only in tech but in culture in many ways, how you interact with the system and what you should be able to do, how the Friend store will be managed and so on with the community. So we're making a participation model that will benefit token holders, but that also will incentivize people through tokens by participating with solutions.
Yeah, by the users and for the users, by the token holders for the token holders. Another question here: what is the exchange rate to 1 ether? 1 ether equals 20,000 tokens. If you participate in the pre-sale, 1 ether equals 24,000 tokens. And if you can contribute more than 20 ether, we will be able to offer you even more bonus tokens. We are the pre-sale cap is 3334 ether. The minimum contribution is 0.1 ether, and currently we are at circa 1,170 something, 1,170 ether, give or take. So that would be about 35% fill. Unless people are actually contributing right now as we speak, that would be great.
That would be great.
Yeah, that and should we talk a bit about that, Hogne? It's a tough market, but this project is not going to fly unless the contributors actually do contribute. And we have a large number of people who have signed up and done their KYC, and for one reason or another are still waiting with contributing with their tokens. I can guess as to why that is so. It could be the psychology of the market. It could be people who are thinking, I will just wait and see if this show actually happens before I contribute from a risk perspective. Maybe someone wants to see some bigger contributors come on board first before they jump on board themselves. And to all of those, I just want to say same time, the more we get of pre-sale from the community, the stronger position we will have when we negotiate with the more professional tail. And of course, as soon as we get around the 45-55% mark of the pre-sale fill, we'll put up a progress bar on the web pages. We are iterating on the new renewed web pages as we speak.
Oh yeah, they're going to be much better.
Yeah, that will happen next week. We'll launch those, I think it's Monday or Tuesday. And any contribution that you could bring to the table now would be of the best help, because we need to make all the preparations we can for pre-sale, and this costs us a lot of time and resources.
And I think also an important thing to mention here to contributors is that as you can see, the friend system is already so advanced. It's already in a usable form, and we're delivering in our commercial company setups for customers already. I think that something that token buyers need to consider is that once this engine really starts going and we have the funding that we need to really start flying, you're going to see a massive increase in activity around our project. And that's going to definitely boost the token, and you're going to see that the token becomes useful very fast as it flies through the friend network, and people can iterate and test out the new technology. We will have test nets up. There will be a lot of buzz coming out from around this project once it really starts going. We're still a little bit unknown already, still today, but that is all about how much gasoline you can put into your car. So if we fill up this tank, you're going to see a lot of activity really quickly, and we're just waiting to pounce on that. And really, our entire organization is structured so that we can deliver that for you. And so get those contributions in, and you're really going to see an increased activity, and you're going to see us everywhere on the internet, essentially.
Yeah. So don't hesitate.
Don't hesitate. Okay, we're actually past the hour, and again, it's been great talking to you. And next Friday, we're gonna have even more time to gather in questions and so on. If you have any feedback on how we do these webinars, if there's something you would like to see more of, and so on, please send those questions to us or those proposals to us, and we're going to keep improving this every time. So.
Absolutely. So we have our FriendUP group on Facebook. We have our Telegram group, FriendUP community on Telegram. If you're not on them, please get on them. And if you have questions you want us to answer on this webinar, send them to us. And maybe Hogne, we should do similar like this next week with any type of question, and then do a focused technical session either on that Friday or any other time you and the tech team.
Yeah, I'm still planning to do a coding session on Tuesday, next Tuesday. So I'll have a go at that, and if people want more of that, so the session on Tuesday is going to be more for developers, how to build friend applications and so on, and then we could do some more technical stuff for non-developers as well, because there's a lot of stuff here for system administrators. There's a lot of stuff here for advanced users, or just people who want to see a bit how the system works on a deeper level than just a superficial user interface and so on.
Excellent. Well, I think that covers it. Thank you very much. And always a pleasure to talk to you.
Same to you, man.
Back to a lot of tasks and a lot of fun, and we'll speak here more next week. And in the meantime, don't be shy, guys. Contribute, ask questions, be active, and we look forward to making Friend come to its full fruition.
Okay, have a nice weekend, and have a nice weekend, Arne.
Thank you, have a nice weekend. Take care, guys.
Bye.